our guest of the evening, would you welcome back to the St Andrews Club, please, John Watt and Davey Stewart.
Three men for quarantine, they went to join the parish. 3 men for quarantine and a bottle of wine went to join the parish. 3 men for quarantine, they went to join the parish. 3 men for quarantine and a bottle of wine and 5 Woodbine went to join the parish. 3 men for quarantine, they went to join the parish. 3 men for quarantine and a bottle of wine and 5 Woodbine and a black greyhound duck called Bob went to join the parish. 3 men for quarantine, they went to join the parish. 3 men for quarantine and a bottle of wine and 5 Woodbine and a black greyhound duck called Bob for up our close went to join the parish. 3 men for quarantine, they went to join the parish. 3 men for quarantine and a bottle of wine and 5 Woodbine and a black greyhound duck called Bob for up our close up the back stairs went to join the parish. And it was shut. All right, folks.
The new road bridge, finest in the country. Off a croon to cross it in that doesn't raise a cheer. It's a bob to cross a Mersey, can stuff it up your jersey. Would they pay it down in London? No bloody fair. Oh, Fife's got everything, just a place for tourists. See a bonny pit bang standing in a row.
The Roth is colliery, finest in the country. When Lizzie come to open it, they didn't let her see. It was half full of water, but ach, it doesn't matter. Plenty jobs at Cadco's making sausages for tea.
Oh, Fife's got everything, just a place for tourists. See a bonny pit bang standing in a row. St Andrews beaches, finest in the country. If you like sewage floating round your toes, it's the Costa that East Nukes enough to make you bloody puke. If you want to go in for a duke, you hate he had your nose. Oh, Fife's got everything, just a place for tourists. See a bonny pit bang standing in a row.
Fife's entertainments, finest in the country. Where the boys to come to if you want to get some tips. There's football at Central Park, necking birdies in the dark. Haggis, suppers, hot pies, bingo and chips.
Oh, Fife's got everything, just a place for tourists. See a bonny pit bang standing in a row. New Fife's got culture, finest in the country. Oh, when it comes to arty talk, oh, we're no the mugs. We've got chink nags on our was, a wheen of gonks in our hawes. Vernon Ward, Trechikoff and White Wally dogs. Oh, Fife's got everything, just a place for tourists. See a bonny pit bang standing in a row.
The Cadco peggery, finest in the country, subsidised by everyone, including you and me. Oh, George Sanders Bacon, I'll bet his back was aching. Send him back to Hollywood and string him for a tree.
Oh, Fife's got everything, just a place for tourists. See a bonny pit bang standing in a row. The Rosyth Dockyard, finest in the country. If you want a cushy job, just working for the state. For there's old folks and blind folks and holiday inclined folks. And if you want a submarine, just hurl it out the gate. Oh, Fife's got everything, just a place for tourists. See a bonny pit bang standing in a row.
Thank you. Just in case you hadn't gathered by this time, on my left is Davey Stewart, my name is John Watt, and this is my guest night. And we'd now like to sing a song which... Control
Wait
yourself,
till I've sung
madam.
it.
Please control yourself. Please control yourself.
It might not be good, you know.
No. We don't usually expect that so early in the evening. Later on, you know, it gets like that, but... Stay with us and you never know what might happen, girls. Right. You all right? Yes. We're going to sing a serious song now here. Okay, this is a song called Pit and Weem Joe, and it's got a chorus if you want to sing it. Oh,
How about this one, Josh?
yes, that looks nice. I can use that one. Oh, they're coming on all sides. Oh, God's sakes.
It's like Kissinger's last press conference, big guy.
Don't know about Kissinger's last press conference. Oh. Yeah, reminds me when I was in Nashville.
I'm gone wi' a lass frae Pit and Weem. She's every fisher laddie's dream. She gets the herring down by the quay and saves her kisses just for me. Pit and Weem, Pit and Weem. She's every fisher laddie's dream. She gets the herring down by the quay and saves her kisses just for me. Oh, last July it came to pass, I met this bonny fisher lass, wearing sae blue and black her hair. I met her down at Leinster Fair. Pit and Weem, Pit and Weem. She's every fisher laddie's dream. She gets the herring down by the quay and saves her kisses just for me. I says to her, can I take you home? She says, oh fine, I ken your game, but nevertheless you're awfully kind. In fact, I wouldn't really mind. Pit and Weem, Pit and Weem. She's every fisher laddie's dream. She gets the herring down by the quay and saves her kisses just for me. I took her home that Saturday night. The moon was shining all so bright, and as we lay there on the grass, I says, hey Joe, would you be my lass? Pit and Weem, Pit and Weem. She's every fisher laddie's dream. She gets the herring down by the quay and saves her kisses just for me. She's my lass new and well I ken. She doesn't gang wi' other men, for I was quick where they were slow, and that's how I won my Pit and Weem Joe. Pit and Weem, Pit and Weem. She's every fisher laddie's dream. She gets the herring down by the quay and saves her kisses just for me. Where Teresa has took up Rajudo. She's been at it for 2 or 3 weeks, she would laugh at a Japanese jacket in her white pair of Japanese breeks. She comes, bringing him after each lesson, with a new way to flatten a man, and the head fella says she's improving. That's him she keeps calling Black Dannon. She wants me to be her opponent. She gets mad when I don't take her on. She says, see you wee bochel, I can melt you with just a one horn. So, last night as we went to her scratcher, I was reaching to pit out the light when she stood up in bed like a madgen and said, come on, Bobby, let's fight. Well, I got her down after a struggle. I can tell you the victory was sweet, and she says she prefers it to judo, but she called me a dirty wee cheat.
A long time ago, not a long time ago, but about 3 years ago, Davey and I, in combination with about 7 other people, went all around Scotland with a party which we called the Great Fife Roadshow. And it was a great sort of concept, you know. We got a caravan, we got a Land Rover, we got about 3 cars, we used up about 200 gallons of petrol, and we played in front of about 5,000 people, and we ate about 200 fish suppers, and we made absolutely no money whatsoever at the end of the day. In fact, we worked for another year to pay off the debts of it. But one thing that came out of it was we had a Christmas party, and this was at a place called Torbain above Kirkcaldy, and this is how our Christmas party went. Did you hear of our Christmas party? It was planned with precision and zeal, and our cordon bleu young Archie had prepared a fantastic meal. There was LSD soup on the table, and tureens o' instant smash, a choice of 6 veg for those able, and our turkey was stuffed full o' hash. Paper hats were for all who attended. Oh my, what a wonderful nicht, and our broken gas meter was mended, always bathed in a bright, cheerful licht. 'Twas a nicht for joyous confusion. There was all that a body could need, and the crackers lay round in profusion, stuffed with bennies, conundrums, and speed. Well, we was just about into the turkey, where glasses were charged with VP, when out of the dark, black and murky, come a howl just like a banshee. "Hey boys," cried Santa the Fuzz, and he snacked out his joint on the chair, while Jim, he was all buzz, flicked the bennies under the stair. Oh my, we were on a state. This had realised the worst of our fears, while bubbly Jock lay there on his plate, reeking like a nicht in the tune o' Algiers. "Open up in the name of the law, we'll put an end to your tear," and a great big Alsatian with slavering jaw come rocketing out of the flare. We just stood there, resigned to our fate, condemned by that grass-laden bird, for to hide it was now far too late. The police would hae the last word. Well, they searched us, and they went through our things. They were laughing, for they kent we were fear. Then they turned us, and jings, our turkey had clean disappeared. Had our grass-laden bird taken flight? We just stood there and rubbed it wi' een. Was it winging its way through the night, bound for Paisley or called Aberdeen? The inspector, he went clean off his skull. "We ken you've got drugs hidden here. We've followed you boys frae Elgin to Mull. Sergeant Williamson, put down that beer." All left was a smashed pane of glass, and a wee bit of string on the sill, o'er bird that was stuffed full hash that was winging its way o'er the hills. Well, the police departed gae seek, and the Alsatian, it started to greet, for it kent pretty certain next week that they'd all be back pounding the beat. Well, that's how our miracle came, at Christmas, one bright starry night, and often we think in our cosy wee hame o' Jockey's incredible flight. There's a guy in Glasgow. Good? Another guitar. Grand. Ah, Mr. Robin McKidd. There's a guy in Glasgow called Adam McNaughton who writes really nice songs. And he writes them about Glasgow and about the people of Glasgow and about the situations that develop in Glasgow. And the type of humour he's sort of talking about is similar to a type of humour that a guy called Bud Neal, who used to live in Dunfermline, had. I don't know if any of you remember the cartoons of Bud Neal, but he used to have cartoons in the Daily Express. And he used to live out the Holbeath Road past the football park at Dunfermline. And one of Bud Neal's sort of epic cartoons which epitomised Glasgow humour was this cartoon of a big fat woman, and she's standing at Partick Cross there, and there's this guy passing her, and he's got masses of long hair, and he's got beads and everything, and this big fat woman's saying to this boy, "Oh, so you're a poet, son? Well, you've got a broad day for it." And that's the kind of thing that Adam's talking about. think about it. And he calls it, Where is the Glasgow? Oh, where is the Glasgow where I used to stay? With white wally closes done up with pipe clay, where you knew all your neighbours fae first floor to third, and to keep your door locked was considered absurd. Oh, do you know the folk living upstairs for you? And what are the wains that once played in the street, wi' a Johnny or a Peary or a Gerd wi' a cleat? Could they catch a hudgie, could they dreep off a dyke, or his writing on was knew the one thing he likes? Could he tell Chickie Melly fi hunch, could he hunch? And what is the wee shop where I used to buy a quarter o' tatties and a tuppenny pie, a bag of broken biscuits and 3 soddy scones? And the woman I asked, who's your ma getting on? Can your big supermarkets give service like that? And what is the chip shop that I knew so well, and the wee corner cafe where they used to sell hot pie and brie and McCallum's and pokes? And you kent they were tallies the moment they spoke. Do you wanted a raspberry on your ice a cream? And where is the football that I played and saw, and the fair shooter charge and the wee tanner ball? There was nae 3-2-3, there was nae 4-2-4, and your mates didn't kiss ye whenever ye scored. Is the game like Big Woodburn, suspended signed aye? And what is that ram car that once in the ton up the Great Western Road on the old Yoker Run? The conductress I kent who to deal wi' a nyaff. If you're going, then go on. If you're no, then get off. There on like her on the buses that day. And where is the Glasgow that I used to know? Big Willie, wee Hughie, the steamy, the coal, the wee shelp at Buckle, and the big lake at Dreep. Oh, the bows on the slates and your gas a peep. If you scrape the veneer off, are these things still there? La 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 la.
John sometimes flies off into the realms of surrealistic fantasy when he's in the toilet, and he sometimes emerges with less weight than he went into and a song in his pocket. It's the strain of creation, I think. And this was one of John's songs that was created in such a manner. It's called Arabelle, Rosabelle. The tune's not original. You may know it. Arabelle, Rosabelle, Jemison McGee, 16 stone of flesh and bone and only 23. Do I see her often? Yes, I do, sir. Every Friday at Rabruser, all she gets, she hands it o'er to me. Arabelle, Rosabelle, McGee. Arabelle, Rosabelle, hair like mouldy hay, feet like clugs packet lugs, and in the family way. Plastic earrings, windy hanging, prams all washing, steaming, minging. Tells me that her love is here to stay. Arabelle, Rosabelle, McGee, were greyhound Bob. Sits in we're close and looks out for her. He knows that Arabelle knows all the tricks. We'll gie him a fix and then some day he'll be top dog. And then Arabelle and Bob and me will live just like the sheiks. That's Solani, 1,000 trannies and golden lammy breeks. Diamonds all around were kludgy, electric blankets for were budgie. We'll change your motor car each 7 weeks. Arabelle, thank you, Rosabelle. Arabelle, thank you, Rosabelle. Arabelle, Rosabelle, Maggie. Sometimes songs are sung to death, and they should be. I mean, death's the best place for them. But sometimes, after a while, songs are worth reviving. I'm not sure whether this one is or ever was, but I'm going to sing it anyway. It's called Shawls o' Hearn. It was from a radio ballad by Ewan MacColl, and it was sung to death and death and death and death, but I'm hoping to revive it. I hope not too many other people latch on, or it might spring to life again. It's called Shawls o' Herring. You'll know it. Oh, it was a fine and a pleasant day. Out of Yarmouth harbour I was bearing as a cabin boy on a sailing lugger for to hunt the bonny shoals o' herring. Oh, we left the home ground in the month of June, and for canny shields we soon were bearing, way 100 cran of the silver darlings that we taken from the shoals o' herring. Oh, we fished the Swathe and the Broken Bank. I was cook and I'd a quarter sharing, and I used to sleep standing on me feet, and I dream about the shoals o' herring. Well, you're up on deck, you're a fisherman. You can swear and show a manly bearing. Tack your turn on watch with the other fellows as you're following the shoals o' herring. Well, I earned me keep and I paid me way, and I earned the gear that I am wearing. Sailed 10,000 miles, caught 1,000,000 fishes as we hunted for the shoals o' herring.
First joke of the evening. As a boy goes to the vet with his dog. Are you listening? Sit down. As a boy, I think this is really great. I really killed myself when I heard this, first of all. I really did. I think you'll like it. As a boy goes to the vet with his dog, and he says to the vet, "This dog has lost its voice. It's got no bark, it's got no woof or anything." And the vet says, "Oh, we'll fix that up. Just bring it out to the garden." He says, "Out the garden?" He says, "Yes, just bring it out to the garden." So he takes it out to the garden, and the vet goes and he gets a gallon of petrol and he pours it over it, strikes a match, and the dog goes woof.
No?
Oh, what a foolish joke. Yes. Oh, what a foolish joke. Oh. All right. Here's a wee song. No, we can't tell another one. We can't sort of overload the sort of good things. They've all to come sort of later. That's the sort of cream in the cake and all that, you know. We can't have you sort of getting hysterical. Right. This is a song about a guy who wants to court a girl, and he's frightened to do it himself, so he sends another guy to do it for him, and the other guy gets the girl, and the other guy's name happens to be McFarlane. So the name of the song is McFarlane o' the Sprots o' Burnie Boozy. Off that I be turnies da the Sawhile Hebben, I'd rather walk for here to burst wi' pace in baith my shin. I'd rather die for a one to breath and pine for a one to love, and it's all because McFarlane married Susie. Now Susie's cankered feather away, mine could never gree, and I, when I'd gang out that gate, he'd set his dug at me. So I sent my friend McFarlane round to see what he could do. McFarlane o' the Sprots o' Burnie Boozy, I dinna like McFarlane, I'm safe enough to state, his lug would cast a shadow o'er a sack's fit gate. He's soft as ony goblin, as slidry as a skate. McFarlane o' the Sprots o' Burnie Boozy, McFarlane spak nae word for me, but plenty for himsel. He rees the lassie's barley scones, her kibback and her kale, till her feyther cried out, Sprutty man, you should try your luck yoursel. To McFarlane o' the Sprots o' Burnie Boozy, now McFarlane is the grimmest chiel for 20 mile around. They use his photograph to flag the rottens fae the tune. He kittled up his spunk at this and speared gin she come down. Be the mistress o' the Sprots o' Burnie Boozy, I dinna like McFarlane, I tell ye it's a fact. He's a nase for splitting hailstones and a humpy back. His legs like gutta perk, ilka step his knees gang knack. McFarlane o' the Sprots o' Burnie Boozy, he said that he was able baith to play at Count the Ladle, well led her o'er a trickle cask and caw the churn for by. Another o' his winners was that sawdust mixed with sinners was the spice for feeding hens at Burnie Boozy. Now an educated ostrich for the zoo at Timbuktu, he had for scratting up his neeps but hadn't them to poo. I never seen the like of that come out o' any moo, but McFarlane o' the Sprots o' Burnie Boozy, I dinna like McFarlane, I tell ye oh it's true. A pewter spin was tint and joke McFarlane's moo. He couldna well be grimmer, sups his bros with a skimmer. McFarlane o' the Sprots o' Burnie Boozy, now a diddle o' the teeth aches nae particularly sweet, but love's the only pain on earth that ever got me greet. It's like the chilblains round your heart instead of round your feet. They were aggravated with the sicht o' Susie. Now friends and kind philosophers, oh hear what me befell. Never lip him to the middleman, but do your work yoursel. Or I'll bet my hen must sark it, you're a day a hint the market, as when I said McFarlane round to Susie. Now I dinna like McFarlane, and I'm fairly half o' joke. I dinna like McFarlane nor McFarlane's folk. May Susie be nae turtle, but bring the tangs or spurtle, do now the heed o' jock o' Burnie Boozy.
We'll finish this half with a rousing political song written 200 years ago by Robert Burns. It's called A Man's the Man for All That. If you know it, join in. If you didn't know it, join in the bits that you know. It changes every other verse, unfortunately, or every verse, unfortunately, at the end. Is there for honest poverty what hangs his head and all that? The coward slave we pass him by, we Darby pair for all that, and all that, our toils obscure and all that. The rank is but a guinea stamp, the man's the gout for all that. With though unhamely fare we dine, we're hard and grey and all that. Gie fools their silks, gie knaves their wine, a man's a man for all that. For all that and all that, their tinsel show and all that. The honest man, though e'er sae poor, is king o' men for all that. You see yon Berkey, he's cried a lord, what struts and stares and all that. Though hunters worship at his word, he's but a coof for all that. For all that and all that, his ribbon star and all that. The man o' independent mind, he looks and laughs at all that. A prince can mark a belted knight, a marquis, duke and all that. The honest man's up in his might, get faith he mauna for that. For all that and all that, their dignities and all that, the pathos, sense and pride o' worth are higher rank than all that. So let us pray that come it may, as come it will for all that. That sense and worth over all the earth shall bar the grief for all that. For all that and all that is coming yet for all that. That man to man the hill world down shall brothers be for all that.
Well, I spin the discs and I do my thing. I don't play nothing and I sure can't sing, but one thing flat, I can have a ball. I can talk all day and say nothing at all, 'cause I'm a DJ. Well, some folk think that my head's too big, but that's put out by the fascist pigs. You see, they talk about this, talk about that, but there ain't really nothing under my hat, 'cause I'm a DJ. Well, I talk about politics, the current scene, got my posters of Che and Steve McQueen, and the women are getting birds, they're chicks, and I smoke a little hash just to get some kicks, 'cause I'm a DJ. Well, I know all about horse and shit, and I've had VD, I've done my bit to use words like pow and groove and splat. I'm a super duper superficial motherfucking cat. Yippee! I'm a DJ. Take a hand for Robin McKidd.
Out in our backyard, my granny was sitting. She was humming and rocking and casually knitting when up to her front door came Big Jock McLennan, were local police force, and another man with him. Oh, no, cries my mother, my father, Lord, save us. The local police forces come to enslave us, and my big brother Jim started cursing and spitting while out in her backyard my granny was knitting. Come on, says my father now, tell us what's cooking. We're local police forces. We're just looking, and we're looking for drugs like heroin and morphia, and if we find any on you, we'll tack them out. Waffy ya, well they looked in our kitchen, they raked in our midden, but they never yet found where our hemp was all hidden, and they looked in our lavvy, dismantled the bulk chain, but they never yet found even a trace of the cocaine. Came 5 o'clock, came 6 o'clock, and they both had to go away, but the local police force said he would get us all someday. Well, out in her backyard, my granny was sitting, cocaine in her needles. With hemp, she was knitting. A song about the time when people were poor. Me last week. And it was a time really when everybody was poor except the High-Hegians, and they didn't like people doing anything bar working for them and sort of living on a pittance. And if you tried to get your rights by sort of poaching the land, the hares and the deers, that is your hares and deers, just as much as your grannies is your grannies, the hares and the deers is your hares and deers. But it was called poaching in them day, and was very sort of serious offence. It's called The Poachers. It's got a great last verse. It's worth joining into. Last verse. Come all you gallant sporting boys that ramble void of care, when you go out on a moonlight night with your dog, your gun, your snare, the harmless hare and pheasant you have at your command. No thinking on your last career upon Van Diemen's land. There was poor Tom Brown from Glasgow town, Jack Williams and poor Joe. We were 3 gallant sporting boys the country well did know. One night we were trepanned, pie-keepers in the sand, and for 14 years transported unto Van Diemen's land. And the day on which we landed upon that fatal shore, the planters stood around us, full 20 score and more, and they ranked us up like horses, and they sold us out of hand, and they yoked us to the plough, me boys, to plough Van Diemen's land. And the houses that we dwell in here are made of clot and clay, with rotting straw for bedding, we dare not say them nay. And our cots are fenced with wire, and we slumber when we can, and we fight the wolves and tigers which infest Van Diemen's land. But there came a lass frae sweet Dundee, Jane Stewart is her name, for 14 years transported for the stealing of the game. Our captain bought her freedom, and he married her offhand, and she gives us all good usage upon Van Diemen's land. Although the the poor of Scotland do labour and do toil. They are robbed of every blessing and produce of the soil. Your proud imperious landlords, if you break their command, they will send you to the British hulks or to Van Diemen's Land.
Come, all you jolly sailors, and listen to my song. It's only 40 verses, so I'll not detain you long. It's all about the wanderings of this poor Lisbon tar that went on the sea, on the Lagan Canal, aboard of the Calabar. Now the Calabar was a clipper ship, copper fastened fore and aft. Her helmet stuck out far behind, and her wheel was a great big shaft. With half a gale to swell her sail, she could make 1 mile per hour. She's the fastest ship on the Lagan Canal, and only 1 horsepower. Now, the captain, he was a strapping lad. He stood full 4'2", and his eyes was green, and his nose was red, and his face was a Prussian blue. He wore a leather medal that he won in the Crimea War, and his wife was mate and passenger's cook aboard of the Calabar. Now the captain, he says to me one day, "Look here, my man," says he, "would you like to be a sailor and sail the raging sea? Would you like to be a sailor on foreign seas to roll? For I'm under orders for Portadown with half a ton of coal." Well, we left the Abercorn Basin, the weather it being sublime, and after we left the old Queen's Bridge, we heard the Albert chime, when coming to the gasworks there, a very dangerous part, we ran right onto a lump of coal that wasn't on the chart. Well, the rest was all confusion, and the stormy winds did blow. The captain slipped on an orange peel, fell into the hold below. "All hands on deck," the first mate cried, for we were sore distressed. But the engineer from the bank replied, "The horse is doing its best." Well, a postman going to his work did hear us loudly roar, and he threw us the end of his galluses, and he hauled us safe ashore. I'll go no more a-wandering with all its stress and strain, and the next time that I go to Portadown, be Jesus, I'll go by train. Okay, here's a recitation from Dunfermline. Now, Dunfermline, you maybe don't know, but I'm sure most of you know that Dunfermline at one time was one of the greatest linen-making centres in Europe.
Does somebody pay you to say that, John?
Concertina conscious. You see, Pele's getting paid 13,000 for just kicking off a ball at the World Cup. That's all he has to do, and he's got a soft drinks sort of thing across him. However, that's nothing to do with this. Okay. In a mean abode down the Limekills Road lived a man cried Charlie Groat, and he'd a wife the plague o' his life, who continually got on his goat. Till one day at morn, wi' her nicht goon on, he slit her skinny throat. Wi' a razor gash, he settled her hash. Ha-ha! Never was crime sae quick, but the steady drip on the pilly slip o' her lifeblood made him sick. While a pool of gore on the bedroom floor grew cold and clotted and thick. Well, he was glad that he'd done what he had, as his wife lay there so still. So to finish the fun so weel begun, he decided himself to kill. So he's ta'en the sheet fae round her cauld feet, and he's knotted it into a rope. and he's hanged himself for the lobby shelf. 'Twas an easy death, let's hope. Well, wi' his last breath, in the grips of death, he's uttered a prayer to the Pope. Now, the funniest turn of the whole concern is only just beginning. You see, Charlie went to hell, but his wife's new well. She's still alive and sinning. For you see, the razor blade was Japanese made, but the sheet was Dunfermline linen.
Now, if you see a funny-looking chap, some folks thinks I dinna gie a rap. Now, some folks thinks they're awfully clever, but they've mair need o' their mither. The other day a man came up to me and said, "Mon you've a fine reed heed." I says, "Well, you hain't muckle hair yoursel, would you like some o' mine for seed? For I'm nae sae green as I may seem, that you think I'm soft as candy. Poke your fun at another silly 'cause you can't put it on to Sandy." Now, yin's at a theatre I never was before. I saw Act One and I headed for the door. The doorman says, "Hang on, man, Sandy. Wait for the second act, more it's Dondy." But in the programme which I had, this is what I read. 1 year will elapse between the acts, so I turned to him and said, "Oh, I'm nae sae green as I may see. Do you think I'm soft as candy? Let me sit here for a whole bloody year, so you can't put it on to Sandy." Now, yin's at a farm I was looking at some ducks. Along came this toffee, a gun and knickerbucks. Says he to me, "For one shot, Sandy, at these ducks here's £1 what's handy." I said, "All right, there's a bit in my pooch." His shot killed 21. He said, "You'll be sorry I've killed some money." I said, "No, I've enjoyed the fun, for I'm nae sae green as I may seem. Do you think I'm soft as candy? Tack up your aim and fire a wat again, for they dinna belong to Sandy." Now, like other silly micks I've got a wife wi', live very happy and never have a strife, but we'll a ken that my wife Bella, she gangs and coots with another fella, the Coleman. But I'm no an evil-minded chap, and I ken the game they play, 'cause just the other week I caught them out richten. And I had to say, "Oh, I'm nae sae green as I may seem. Do you think I'm soft as candy? When you're a waffy him with your wife, I do the same. Oh, you can't put it on to Sandy." You want to get on that? We are the D-Day Dodgers, way out in Italy. We're always on the vino, we're always on the spree. We're 8th Army scroungers and we're tanks, and we live in Rome among the Yanks. A sartful D-Day Dodgers in sunny Italy. We landed at Salerno, a holiday with pay. The Jerry's brought their bands out to greet us on the way. They gave us some cakes and made us tea, and we all sang songs and the beer was free to welcome the D-Day Dodgers to sunny Italy. Naples and Casino, we took them in our stride. Ach, we didn't go to fight there, we just went for the ride. Anzio and Singra were just names, and we only went to chat up dames. Och, the sartful D-Day Dodgers in sunny Italy. Dear Lady Astor, you think you know a lot. You're standing up in Parliament and sprouting Tommy rot. You're England's sweetheart and her pride. We think your mouth's too bloody wide. That's from the day the Dodgers in sunny Italy. Look upon the hillside in the mud and rain. See the scattered crosses, there's some that bear no name. Heartbreak and toil and suffering gone, the boys beneath them linger on. They are the dead Dodgers who stayed in Italy.
There's an old chap lives down our street in a cosy cottage green, and every Sunday morning when it's fine, oh, I often goes and sits with him to have a smoke and chat, because he is a dear old friend of mine. And when it's getting dinner time and dinner's ready then, well, I think it must be time for me to go. But he goes and hangs my hat up just behind the old front door, and then to my surprise I hear Jack say, oh, I'm always glad to see a man like thee. You're as welcome, lad, as welcome as can be. Draw your chair up to the table, stay as long as you are able, for I'm always glad to see a man like thee. Let's see you sing that then. Oh, I'm always glad to see a man like thee. You're as welcome, lad, as welcome as can be. Draw your chair up to the table, stay as long as you are able, for I'm always glad to see a man like thee. One day as I was sat with him, there came a loud rat-tat. There came a loud rat-tat at Jack's front door. Well, he hurries out to open it, and there to his surprise, a hungry tattered beggar stood outside. He asked Jack for a crust of bread. Jack looked him through and through. Well, bless your heart, he says, lad, come inside. And he goes and hangs his hat up just behind the old front door. Then to the tramp's surprise he hears Jack say, oh, I'm always glad to see a man like thee. You're as welcome, lad, as welcome as can be. Draw your chair up to the table, stay as long as you are able, for I'm always glad to see a man like thee. Now when Jack had lived long enough, time came for him to die. He went upon the trams for one last ride, and he knocked upon the doors when he got up to the down sheds, and knocked upon the door and went inside. He held his hat within his hand, he says, I've come at last. St. Peter says, hey Jack, I see it's thee. And he goes and hangs his hat up just behind the old front door. And then to Jack's surprise, St. Peter says, Oh, I'm always glad to see a man like thee. You're as welcome, lad, as welcome as can be. Draw your chair up to the table, stay as long as you are able, for I'm always glad to see a man like thee. How long have we to go, Andy Cassidy? We've no watches here. We've got to do one more song. All right, yes. Well, thank you very much, ladies and gentlemen, for being so kind as to listen to us here tonight. And seriously, Funsters, it's been really marvellous coming back here to sing in Dundee again. Sorry, St Andrews. Sorry, St Andrews. Sorry. Right. Okay. Oh, another joke we forgot to tell you. This is a creme de la creme. There's a wee boy, and it's another dog joke. And there's a wee boy, and he's with a teacher, and the teacher's showing him all sorts of dogs up on a wall on pamphlets and pointing to Alsatians and dachshunds and long-haired, wire-haired terriers and that. And she says, "What's that jog? What's that? No, not jog. What's that dog? What's that dog, Jimmy?" And he says, "Oh, that's a coconut dog." She says, "Coconut dog? There's not such a dog as a coconut dog." "Well, yes, miss," he says. "When my father was walking down the street yesterday with his pal Willie, he said, 'Hey, Willie, look at the coconut dog.'" No? Think on it.
Right.
Oh, well, you can't win them all.
Kelty Clippy.
Look at the coconut dog. Look at the coconut dog. Everyone a coconut, right?
Right, we're doing Kelty Clippy.
Right, yes.
Right, all we need is a backing group for this one.
We need a backing group for this one. Is Robin McKidd there? This fantastic guitarist here.
And
Davy Craig. Davy Craig. Davy Craig here, yes. Like King Lassie's answer to Liberace. Right. Yes, play guitar.
Here, I've got a story.
You've got a story,
This
right.
is an absolutely true story. There's a fellow just now doing studies on trade councils in Glasgow. I don't know if you know trades councils, but they're sort of vaguely left-wing organisations. And he went along to this trades council meeting in Glasgow. And before the thing started, a wee bloke stood up in the front and he said, "Just before it starts, Mr. Chairman, I'd like to make a point of order." He says, "There's somebody in the room tonight that's been making very serious allegations against me." He said, "Better not continue because me and my mates ken who it is, and if it continues, there'll be serious repercussions against the bloke that's making them allegations and that, you know." So with that, a wee red-haired fella stood up at the back of the room and says, all right, yes or no, I'm the alligator."
See you later. Oh, that sounds good. Keep going.
Right, this is Kelty Clippy. Yes, oh yeah. Oh, Kelty Clippy, oh! Hooray! Thought they were never going to end.
You take the first verse. I have travelled round this country, frae shore to shining shore, frae the swamps o' Auchternderen, to the jungles o' Lahore. But in all these far-flung places, there's none that can compare with the lily o' Lumpin, and she's my bonny Maggie Blair.
Faith, the pyramids up in Kelty, Teros mansions in Glencraig, we've roamed the banks together on money's the Blystraveig. Seen the moonshine over Crosshill, Stradbach Haven's golden sands, and money's the happy hour we spent in Loch Galley's happy land. Oh, it's just the Kelty Clippy, she'll no take nae advice. As I grab thee to a bow your head, I'll punch your ticket twice. Her father's just a waster, her mother's on the game. She's just a Celtic clippy, but I love her just the same.
Well, I met her on the 8:15, that nectar romantic bliss. I said, say Mag, put down your bag and gies a wee bit kiss. Well, she didn't attack that kindly, no, she didn't like my chaff. And being a contrary kind of lass, she says, get off!
She hasn't got nae culture, she drives me round the bend. She sits every night in an old armchair, reading the People's Friend. Her lapels is full of badges, frae buttons down the air, and she goes to the bingo every night with colours still in her hair. Oh, she's just a Celtic clippy, she'll no take nae advice. As I grab thee to a bow your head, I'll punch your ticket twice. Her father's just a waster, her mother's on the game. She's just a Celtic clippy, but I love her just the same.
Oh yes! Oh, but things is a wee bit better now. I've gone and got the ring. I won it with Davey at the pitch and toss last night at the Lindsay Bing, where we black hat and a ticket machine, she did my heart and stare. She's a lily, all lumphing, and she's my bunny Maggie.
She's just a Celtic clippy, she'll no take nae advice. As I clap thee to a bow your head, and I'll punch your ticket twice. Her father's just a waster, her mother's on the game. She's just a Celtic clippy, but I love her just the same.
Ladies and gentlemen, John Watt and Davey Stewart.
What else is there? Finished totally.
What more can we say, folks? You've been lovely, all of you, every single one of you.
Tonight I am so happy. Tonight I am so gay. My mother's got a roly-poly pudding on the way. I saw her put the currants in the suet in as well. And you will be surprised at the story I will tell. I'm having a bit tonight, I'm having a bit tonight. Me mother says I must be quick to get me bit of spotted. I likes me roly-poly, it fills me with delight. I haven't had any since Christmas, but I'm having a bit tonight. Cha-ra-ra-ra-ra-ra-ra-ra, cha-ra-ra-ra-ra-ra. My girlfriend's down for Easter and she's a lovely girl, her eyes are like the flashing stars and her teeth just like the pearls. There's only one thing wrong with her. She is so very fat. But tonight I'll give her spotty dick. Well, what do you think of that? I'm having a bit tonight, I'm having a bit tonight. Me mother says I must be quick to get me bit of spotty dick. I likes me roly-poly, it fills me with delight. I haven't had any since Christmas, but I'm having a bit tonight. Cha-ra-ra-ra-ra-ra-ra, cha-ra-ra-ra-ra-ra. Her girlfriend, she came down with her and she's a fat girl too. And everything what her girlfriend does, she always does it too. She takes a double helping. She's got such an appetite, but here's plenty, but it again she'll be satisfied tonight. I'm having a bit tonight, I'm having a bit tonight. Me mother says I must be quick to get me bit of spotty dick. I likes me roly-poly, it fills me with delight. I haven't had any since Christmas, but I'm having a bit tonight. Then there's Auntie Jessie, and there's Cousin Nell, and there is a girl next door, she likes a bit as well. Then there's dear old Grandad. I'd have thought he'd had enough, but Hero is 94 years old. He's a bugger for his duff. I'm having a bit tonight. I'm having a bit tonight. My mother says I must be quick to get me bit of spotty dick. I likes me roly-poly, it fills me with delight. I haven't had any since Christmas, but I'm having a bit tonight.
Well, there you have it, John Watt and Davey Stewart.